Hi, and welcome to Safe Space. I'm your host, the artistic psychologist. This podcast aims to end the stigma surrounding mental health, one conversation at a time. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy. Today, I have Martins on the show with me. How are you doing, Martins?
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for having me.
Okay, perhaps you can introduce yourself.
Yes, my name's Martins Simeo. I'm Kenyan.
Okay.
I'm married to one wife, and she's a woman. And we are blessed with the two boys. I stay in Nairobi. I've been in Nairobi for the last 20 years, staying here with my family. And I think that's it.
Okay. How do we know each other? I think we met in 2018?
2018.
2018?
Yes.
Yeah, we met in 2018. So Martins, I don't know where. Did we meet those USIs? I'm not sure. When I ordered an Uber.
The first day you ordered an Uber, actually you were at Doctor's Park.
Oh yeah. Then you picked me from. I remember that.
Then I was to drop you at USIU.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was so impressed just by your service and everything. So after that, I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to get his number, and he's going to be like a regular, person I call if I need transport, especially if I'm out late.
Yes.
Sometimes it's better to be with somebody
Yes.
Yeah, that's how we met, and we had a great conversation, I think, on that first day.
Yes.
Yeah, when you were dropping me back.
Yeah. Actually, I remember when I met you for the first time.
Okay, so today I have you here to talk about COVID and your experience with the pandemic.
Yes.
So first of all, thank you for joining me.
Thank you also for having me.
So do you recall when the pandemic began in 2020?
Yes.
Do you remember how that was for you?
Yeah, I do recall very well, being that I'm in the transport sector. I have friends who are also drivers, driving with different organizations. So when COVID, we just used to hear this thing, it was in China there.
Mm-hmm.
And it had affected some other Europe countries and such as stuff. But in Africa, we were just hearing about some few cases here and there. Then I think it was on February 2020 that one of my friends, he works with a tour company. They were laid off.
As early as February? Wow.
Like guys who are working with the airlines, with the tour companies. Actually, they were the first victims.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they were affected, because it began like in late 2019. So by early 2020, they were already affected. So they were laid off. And he was telling us, actually, this thing is so serious, and it has really affected us so much. Like, they had a company of like 400 staff. They had laid off almost 70% of the staffs. So, at first, we didn't know the effects of this pandemic. Until now, we had cases rising in Kenya. Like now, there were like 10 people, 20 people. Now it's like 400, 600.
Yeah.
Then we're like, oh, so this thing is serious. So that's the first time I really encountered the result or the effects of COVID to be real and to be just as serious as another pandemic. Yeah.
And seeing your friends being laid off, was that scary for you? I know you work under Uber. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a bit more independent, I think. Yeah. But was that something scary for you, like seeing them lose their jobs?
Yeah. There is a Swahili saying that goes that when you see your neighbor being shaved, get prepared.
Yeah. Yeah.
because next you'll be on the line. I understand that actually most of our clientele, they are from abroad. As much as we have quite a number of clientele here at home, but most of them, they come from abroad. So I was like, if this thing has affected my friend, it's just a matter of time that it's going to catch up with us also. Yeah. And also, there were also some of the clients here who are now afraid of us Uber guys. Like, when you guys, you frequent at the airport, and that's like the gateway of everything from abroad. So some of the clients here were afraid of us. So the clients that we used to be having from certain areas, now you go to those areas, they are no more. So slowly by slowly, it was catching up with us. And just the way you put it, Pauline, fear started getting in, because you are like, now how am I going to operate? Because this is the only job I'm doing. So if it's affected, then it's going to be a problem or a challenge to me to take care of my family.
And this was the driving the taxis, your main source of income.
My wife used to be running a shop, which unfortunately actually it collapsed during the COVID times. Because when COVID first came to Kenya, we didn't know about how to go about with it. Guys were just afraid. Everybody doesn't want to meet you, and like that's so actually the shop, in fact, where they were going to get some stuffs for the shop, some of the places were closed. So the shop went down and down and down until we had to close it.
Okay, so you're driving the Uber. At this point, we get into the point where we're getting into the lockdown period. So we have curfews 7, then they are closing things like the restaurants and all of that. At that point, how was business for you? Were you getting clients at all? Were you still going to work?
Yes, actually it reached a point whereby you could fuel the car, come out, wait for the client for like even 5 good hours, no clients showing up. No one is requesting for the Uber. So it was becoming a challenge even to us, given that now most of our clients, they are party goers. They are going to the restaurants. They are coming out of the restaurant. They are going to the clubs. They are going outside there to have fun with friends. Now you realize that after the lockdown, it was just serious, because personally on my side, on that day of the lockdown, I remember we were loading some stuffs for my mother-in-law. She was working with the Ministry of Health. Now she had retired. She was going home. She had packed almost everything. We had packed almost everything on the truck. And she was to travel the following day. Although the truck was to leave the same day, but she was to follow the truck the following day, because the truck drivers knew her home. So at around 4 p.m. in the afternoon, then there's this presidential order that there's now a lockdown in Nairobi. And you see, she had packed everything. She had returned the keys to the landlord because she was leaving that very evening. So it was like, you understand, the presidential order was that the curfew was taking effect immediately. So no one was to travel from Nairobi. And now we have the mother-in-law. She had packed everything. Now she was just by herself. In fact, that very day she had to go and to sleep to a friend, so that tomorrow morning she goes. So now, because of the lockdown, we had to take her to our house and stay with her.
And how was that?
No, you look at things and you're like, is this the devil coming, or what's happening? Because had she left, it would have been better or easier for me to take care of my family. But now she's here, and now she has cleared almost everything. She's just here. In fact, we have even to buy her some other new clothes. And she's in our house. where I come from, we don't sleep with mother-in-law in the same room.
Yeah.
But due to COVID,
She had to.
she had to, because we could not even go and ask someone to maybe host her for some time, because everybody was afraid of everything. So we had to just keep up with her in our house for a certain period of time. So back on your question, actually we were affected so much because sorry, because like now you cannot work the way you used to work. My wife, the shop had already closed. Now I'm the only breadwinner in the family. And on top of that, we have a stranger also, a visitor with us. And you see, she needs to be treated
care of her,
well, not like us. So it was a challenge for us.
Yeah.
It was a challenge.
And this was as early as March 2020?
Yeah, no, this was as early as March.
Wow.
Yeah, it was as early as March. So things were just, it started going south. Now, no jobs, no nothing. And everything was just like crumbling. Yeah.
Okay. That's just, it's terrible. It sounds scary. Yeah. And you mentioned that the clients now were afraid of, the Uber drivers.
Yes. Yes.
But I'm sure it was also scary for you to carry clients. Yeah. So how did you balance that fear and, your need to make money?
Yes.
Yeah. How did you balance that?
Yeah. Actually, there were some requirements that the government had given to us, more so us who are working with transport. We had to have sanitizers. We had to put on masks always. We had to, at some point, we fumigate even the car. There's this client that really shocked me. He requested for an Uber. He was a white guy. Then when I went to pick him, he had like a 5-liter jerrycan of some substance. So I was like, what's the problem with this guy? Then he opened the door, all of them, all
the doors of the car.
Or even my door, he opened it. Then he started fumigating the car. Inside, outside. So I was there seated and he's a client and you are looking, you are expecting his money. So you just have to keep cool and wait for. So the guy literally fumigated the car almost everywhere, and
including where you were sitting.
In fact, even he was literally spraying even over me.
Oh my
it's
gosh!
Like he doesn't trust me for sure. So if he fumigated the whole car, then he. I tried to help him to pack his bags, but he refused. He just wanted to do it by himself. So he opened the boot, arranged his bags there, fumigated them again, closed all the door while I was inside.
Wow.
Then he told me, now we can go.
And he didn't even ask you permission, like, can I?
He didn't. He didn't. Yeah.
I can imagine.
So actually it was really tricky for us because you are going to, this is the job you've been doing for a very long time. This is the job you are expecting to get money and take care of your family. Now things are not working well. Clients are not there. Again, you have to balance between your safety and the safety of the client also. So yes, you have the mask, you have the sanitizers and everything, but still things are not working. Yeah, things are not working.
But that incident sounds quite disrespectful, and I can imagine during this period, there are some people who actually were disrespectful. Did you ever refuse to carry anybody at any one point?
Yes. At some point, there's these guys who came into my car. And they didn't have masks. There were 3 guys, and they were drunk. And then I asked them just politely, guys, wear your masks. And they said, no, you cannot. Who told you to ask us about masks? Who told you to wear masks? Oh, this is just something from the West. You've also been you've also been brainwashed by these guys. You're an African. This thing is just outside there. Then I was like, no. After this, I have to go back home to my family. What about if the worst goes to worst and maybe a contract COVID here. Obvious, once I get home, my boys are going to hug me and certain like stuff. Then I don't know what's going to happen. So when we tried to argue and they insisted to board my car without the mask, then I had to tell them, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I am in need of compliance, but no, thank you. Because for the safety of yourself, because you also don't know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I don't know where we are coming from. So it's good to protect each other. Then they were like, no, if we have a lot of Ubers here, let's just order another one. So they had to order another one and insisted, I was just there. That driver came and they insisted that they're just driving like that. Now, the problem was, Pauline, so many drivers were desperate for money. So he could even go to an extent of putting his life at risk just to pick this client so that he can get money.
Yeah.
Well, those are the challenges that we faced during the pandemic.
And I can understand that, of course, because, business is bad. You do need the money.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate, actually, that the clients now can't even take into consideration, let me think about this person's safety as well.
Yes.
For them, it's just a matter of, I need to get where I'm going,
Yeah.
right? And that's so unfortunate. I'm sorry you had to go through through that. Did you, at any one point, get sick? Did you get COVID at any one point?
Actually, no. I didn't ever gotten sick, because I remember, we were being told to, there's this concussion. We were always boiling every time. Ginger. Like you get to our house, you get a thermos there.
Yeah.
Even at some point, my boys were like, if they have not taken, they have to remind me that, Dad, you've not taken the concussion. So we used to be taking them and just being careful. The washing of our hands, putting on of masks whenever we are outside there. So actually, I didn't had one of my members maybe didn't fell sick during that period of time. Yes.
Okay, that's a blessing. At
Yeah,
least,
sure.
Even if things were hard, at least nobody was getting sick at the time.
Yeah, because again, I was looking at it. Hospitals were taking in patients. So if the worst happens and someone falls sick, where do we take him now? Yeah. Because even the nurses and the doctors were also afraid because they don't know what might happen. And there were some patients who were coming to the hospital and they didn't have signs or symptoms, but again they end up having COVID. Yeah. So everybody was afraid. So we just took care of ourselves. Yeah. But above all, it was God who took care of us. Yeah. Now,
I'm sure there's some people who would request a cab and you're seeing that the destination, I don't know if you can see the destination, it's like to the hospital, right?
Yes.
Did that ever make you worried? Were you afraid, knowing that I'm probably carrying somebody who's sick in the beginning? Because I know in the beginning there was a lot of stigma. We didn't really want to interact with people. So, you pick someone up and they're telling you, okay, I'm going to Aga Khan.
Yes.
And you just think to yourself, okay, this one is sick. So
you're right, Pauline. At some point, I had to ask a client, are you really okay? Because I went to pick him. Now, with the Uber app, unless you start the trip, you don't know where the client is going. And I think they've hidden that thing just with good reasons. So when I started this trip, this guy was going to Nairobi Hospital. And behind there, the guy was kind of struggling and coughing. And so at some point, I had to stop beside the road and was like, boss, are you quite okay? Are you really okay? Or is something? And he says, okay, I'm not feeling well, but that's why I'm just going to the doctor to be checked and see what's happening, but I'm not feeling well. And you see, now you are driving and you are like, here, let's just go to himself now, take care of the situation. Otherwise, I might maybe end up also contracting COVID. Yeah. Because, like anyone coughing, because I remember my wife at some point, they boarded a matatu and a guy coughed 3 times. And they told the driver, please stop there. Stop there.
Oh no.
Then all of them, they had to alight, go and die with your patient there.
Oh no.
Can you imagine? Almost everybody
Came out of the
match. Only the two guys there who were like I don't know whether they were on suicide mission. I don't know. Them they say no, we are going. Whether we contract or no, we've paid for. You know, the most interesting thing is Kenyans are good at asking for the refund of the fare. No one asked. Yeah, it's like you have that money, go and die. You are on death and don't die with us.
Oh, no.
So actually, that's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. And also, even us also as a driver, even personally as a driver, I had some challenges because now you are carrying a client and you're feeling like coughing, and you are like, these guys, yes, me coughing here 3 times.
He's going to end the trip.
End the trip.
Cancel the trip. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, the way you put it, stigma, it was so high, and people were victimized. Some for nothing at all. Yeah, because actually coughing is just a normal thing to us. Yeah, but now people are victimized, and I remember even ourselves, we could carry some water under your seat. Anytime you feel like you want to cough, you have to take some water so that you. Until you end you reach the destination, that's when now you'll be okay. You can cough and yes.
And we became super vigilant to a point where it was just unhealthy because you can't, like you're saying, you can't cough. And maybe you're just choking, but you can't even cough because everybody's just going to look at you and wonder.
Just near choke, you're just choking,
Yeah.
Or you've just you just swallowed something and maybe choked you, and you just have. No, you'll just have to squeeze yourself there. You don't want to cough because if you cough, guys around you, they were like, boss, Bamu tumalize. Yeah.
At some point, we had different curfew times. There was 7 p.m. I think at some point it was 9 p.m.
Yes.
And other times.
Yes.
And I know that there was a lot of trouble with the police. Yeah.
Yes.
Were you ever affected with the curfew hours?
Yeah.
The police.
Actually, I remember there was this curfew over 8
p.m. We had an 8 p.m. curfew. I think to 7.
8? To 7.
Yeah, 7.
The 7 p.m. curfew. Actually, that was just like hell to us because now you work from like 4. Then once it reaches at 3, you start your journey going home. Because given that I stay on Thika Road, and Thika Road is always with much traffic, so you are afraid that you are caught up on traffic, then it will be trouble for you. And I remember at some point I had a client, then she was also going in a place called Ruiru. So on our way, actually, the curfew time caught up with us. Then this police, they just blocked the road. No one was moving. At first we thought it was just mere traffic, but they were like, no, this traffic is not even moving. We've been here at the same spot for like 40 minutes. Then someone came, a border rider came and told us the cops are in front. They say it is curfew time and they have blocked the road, so there is no access. No one is moving from up. So we were there. You can imagine the client is a female. We were in the cab together with her. And you see, you try to talk until it's like it's not making sense. Because she's here claiming that actually she has a baby at home. And now she's here and the husband is calling and she says she's stuck in
the cab.
In a jam. In the first place, she told the husband she's stuck in the jam. Then he was like, no, in fact, the cops have blocked the road altogether, so we cannot pass. So the husband was like, so you mean, can we bring the baby to where you are? Because how are you going to spend the night with this baby? And she's here wailing and... So we were just there for like 4 hours. Then Kenyans are good at trying to share. Then they were like, then something happened. an ambulance was coming from the back. I suppose it had maybe a sick guy inside, but it could not pass because the cops had blocked the road. So Kenya started bashing these leaders, and they were telling the CS for internal security, you are blocking the road. You're holding us here, because we've broken the curfew rules. Now behind us is an ambulance carrying a sick person. So could you please tell us what kind of life are you protecting? Us or this person who is sick in the ambulance? So it went on like that. They were like bashing the government. In fact, some of them were even tagging the president on Twitter and asking him, "Sir, look, now we are here, and the ambulance coming from behind us. They cannot pass. So what is the reason of you blocking the road?" So at around 2 in the morning, now they opened the road and allowed us to continue now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even, I remember when they used to block the roads, it did not even make any sense to me. The way I imagined a curfew would work.
Yes.
It would make sense if, let's say you say a 7 p.m. curfew. If someone is leaving their house at 10 p.m.,
yes,
then we can have a problem.
Yes.
But if you find me on the road at 7 p.m. and I'm on my way home, I don't understand why, you should stop me on the road. And to be honest, at that time, people were not even being let out of work early enough. There are many people who are using public transport. It was just hectic, and there's less availability of the transport means. So I just wish they extended more grace to people.
Also, the one thing that the government did not explain to Kenyans clearly, Kenyans used to hear of the lockdowns in Europe.
Yeah.
And they perceived in their minds that maybe a lockdown is completely, locking, the way we are in this house. Then the lockdown, maybe it should look like this. Completely, you cannot go out.
Yeah.
You cannot do anything. Yeah. Because I remember even when the first lockdown was called on by the president, we went to the supermarket and there were no milk, there were no essentials, unga was not there. Guys had bought in bulks because they knew very well that they're going to stay in the house. They're not going to leave. So they'll be, it was just crazy.
Yeah.
It was just crazy.
It was. I think it was just execution of the thing was not making sense, I think.
Yeah.
So did you have any regular customers at the time, and do you still have them, or did you lose regular customers?
Actually, by the grace of God, I think I've had clients that I've never lost for a very long time. And they used to call me wherever they want to go, maybe do some shopping, or they just want to maybe move around the city, do ABCD. They'll call me and give me the job. And in fact, I remember this one, he was American. He could call me and he could pay me very well. Yeah, telling me, I know maybe this might be the only job you've done. So let me pay you well so that you can also take care of yourself and the car also. Because again, it was you have to buy the sanitizers, the fumigators, whatever, the masks, all this, they need money. So he was one of the clients that actually was of great support for me during the pandemic period. And as fate would have it, when the first lockdown was called off, he had traveled to his country, and that was the end now. Yeah, but still I had some clients who would just call me and give me the jobs and allow me to drive them around, even with their families. Yeah, they were not afraid of me. Yeah, but some of them, I remember that's when actually it's only recently that now clients have started now sitting with us in front. Otherwise, they were all sitting behind.
At the back.
Yeah. Even if a mother would come with 3 or 4 babies or the children,
they all sit at the back.
Yeah, because they don't trust you. They don't know where you've been. Yeah.
Well, okay, at least, I mean, I guess that just shows how important it is to build trust with people over time, because that's what
Sure.
helped as well. The customers being
Yeah,
able to
yeah,
trust you and look for you. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, because again, such a client calling you, maybe you've been for 5 hours without a job. So all of a sudden you hear the phone calling, and this guy is like, Martin, where are you? Please, can you take me to a certain place? I want to do some ABC, then take my bag back home. Then you are like, oh, this is good. So once you do that job, that's when now you at least have some money.
Yeah.
Take home.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when things got difficult,
Yes.
were you able to reach out to any of your customers for help, or just to say could you just
Yes, I
sort
did.
me out? Things are bad.
I remember my client, my landlord was a very good guy. Then he passed on as a result of COVID.
Oh no.
And he left the premises to his brother, who was so arrogant, who was so rude. So at some point, for us who still stays in rented house in Nairobi, it's a rule that you always pay first before you stay. Now we had changed the rule. So now you stay first, then you pay. So when this guy came in, actually he tried to introduce now the former rule of which you have to pay first before you stay. But then I didn't have money. So at some point, actually, this guy had to lock my house. And now you can imagine you are here with the mother-in-law, with the kids, with the wife and the kids, and the house is locked. So how do you go about with this? There's nowhere you can take this family and maybe keep them somewhere until maybe you get the money and pay the rent. There's nothing and totally nothing. You don't have money. So I had to call my former clients and tell them, hey, this has happened and this is my situation at the moment. I don't have money. Please, if you could have money, just send me. I pay this rent. Then we'll sort it out later on. Either I'll do the trips free of charge so that just we deduct the amount from that much that you've given out to me. So there are actual clients who really helped me to come out of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, are there any clients who reached out to you for help? Maybe they were stuck in their life. Maybe they asked for a favor. Could you carry me for free? I'll pay you later. Or anything like that.
Yeah, actually, Pauline, it's like this thing. It had complicated so many things. Even the people you would expect they had money. They would say, "Wait, please, I want to go to a certain place, but I don't have money. So if you are willing, please, can you take me there? So first, before then I have to pay you later on once I get the money." So I really had the money. So I realized that all of us we are in this, and at times someone once said that never say that you don't have any help to another human being. All of us we have help to each other. So there are some clients who will tell me we want to go somewhere, but at the moment we don't have money and it's an emergency. So, because there's a client who wanted to fly out, so he had to go to do the COVID test to get that certificate before he can fly out, and he didn't have money. Whoever was to send him money had not sent the money up to that point, so I had to take him there. He did everything he wanted to do. Then after some time, he sent me the money through Western Union because he had already flown outside. Yeah,
that's interesting. I think this whole situation just made us realize that we have to, as much as we were distrusting each other somehow, you really had to trust people, because doing for somebody a favor, you don't know if they'll pay you back, to be honest. And that time you don't really have the money, but it's just extending that a bit of humanity. You're like, okay, I understand things are hard. I'll do it for you, and trust that you'll pay me back. That's it.
And also, Pauline, this pandemic taught us something, some sort of patience, some sort of perseverance.
Yeah.
you know, it would have been better for me if I work even for you and you don't pay me now. But I know that actually Pauline owes me some money. So as much as I'm struggling, but at the back of my mind, I know there's some money that I'm expecting somewhere from somebody. So at some point, actually, we had just to do this job. You are just like, let me just do this job. Even if I was, he or she's not paying me right now, but at least I know they have some date somewhere where I can call him and say, boss, how is everything? Can you please send me some few coins? Yeah, at least just to be seen that you've worked, even if you don't have cash with you at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. And you've mentioned that, of course, at home, you know, your mother-in-law had come. That was already making things difficult.
Yes.
Is there any other way life at home was affected because of the pandemic?
But with my family, it was affected positively.
Okay.
Do you know what? We never had time together. Now with the pandemic, I was at home
all the time.
By 6 in the evening, I'm at home. So I would play with the boys. They will share everything with me. They'll tell me everything, how they went to, how people were washing their hands, how, you know, they'll tell me whatever that was happening in the neighborhood. So it was high time. And also, my wife and myself, now we have time. Now we can discuss how we are going to go about everything, how we are going to handle this issue. Otherwise, we didn't have time. Before, we didn't have time because now I come home, I'm tired. I just want to take a bath, have my dinner, then go to bed. Wake up in the morning, I'm out. In fact, I used to get out of my house at around 5:30 latest. So you can imagine, 5:30 I'm out. Coming back, sometimes it's never guaranteed that I can be home at 8. Sometimes I'm home. I come home at around even as late as 11. So you see, also she's tired. We didn't have time to sit as a family, bond as a family. So the pandemic actually affected us positively. Now we had time, a lot of time to discuss everything. Even if we didn't have a solution today, we could discuss it the following day because we'll still have good time.
Okay, at least that went enough. But some people now, because of the time they had to spend together, they realized, maybe this relationship is not working anymore. Let's just split. Yeah. So I'm glad yours went positively.
I know of friends who even separated. Because they were not used to being together for a very long time. Now you sit with your spouse together for 12 hours. You look at her left, right, and center. It's like, no, I did a blunder marrying this guy. He's not the guy I was looking at. Because now, so you have all the time to be together. Even when maybe something happens and he sleeps, and maybe he sleeps around, like, look now, what kind of man is this sleeping around almost, such a stuff. So people, I know one of my friends, actually they separated for some times, but we knew very well it was as a result of the pandemic. Yeah, we talked out to them and told them, no, take it easy. As much as you've separated, but just get the bottom of this matter and make sure that it doesn't lead to divorce, because it's happening all over. Yeah, and it was so bad that even in the neighborhood you could see men that they are committing somewhere. Everybody trying to share what's going on in his house, and women also as well. There was in a committing somewhere trying to discuss how things, and it was like that, and it was not good. Yeah, it was not good. So it affected so many people. Most of them actually, people who are close to us or close to me. They were affected so much. Yeah.
Do you have family outside of Nairobi? Yes.
My family?
Yeah. Do you have family outside of Nairobi? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yes. And since 2020, were you able to go back home at all?
I remember now let me go back to the issue of my mother-in-law. You see, as much as I was struggling to feed her here, I was also trying to get money to see how I can I can take her home. Because again, I had done some research and I was told that there were some high-end vehicles in Nairobi that were ferrying guys to up country, even with those roadblocks on the road. You know, like now, like a V8. You know, when the police officers see the V8, you know, they have to salute. They don't know who is in inside. Yeah, and now you see, you know, because I remember there was a certain MP who was so rude to the at the roadblock. He told you know, I'm a member of parliament. What I'm doing, going the city and back, I'm only trying to get to the logistics of how we are going to handle this pandemic, and you are here stopping my car here. You know, he was so rude on the traffic, on the cops that were actually manning the roadblocks. So when I was told about them, those high-end vehicles, I had to get to know how much they charge, like from here to Western or to Rift Valley in Kitale. That's where my rural home is. So the guy that I found, he told me actually they charge 8,000 shillings from Nairobi to Kitale. So he was telling me 4,000 belongs to the owner of the car. 1,000 we are going to party with it on the roads.
Wow, to the police.
For the police.
Wow.
And these others, we are going to fuel the car, and that's all. So he was saying, you know, out of this 8,000, not that I'm eating much. No. It's only that we are just trying to help each other. You guys who are stuck here, you can move to the other side.
Wow.
Yeah. Because you remember, actually, it came at a time whereby people were not prepared. There were some families that were here. They were just about to go up country.
Yeah.
They couldn't because of the lockdown. And now some of them, maybe they stay there. And now staying here, actually, being here, it's becoming a problem. Even the hosts. So they have to look for ways and means to get back. So that's why those guys were charging 8,000. So I was struggling to feed them, but at the same time struggling to save some few coins so that I get the 8,000 to
send her back
home.
Did you manage eventually?
Yeah, eventually I managed, because actually she was even bothering us so much. You know, sometimes she could not even eat. And you are like, Mom, just eat. No, you know, when I think of how bad, you know, like, she was one person who actually, she hasn't hustled here in Nairobi. She came, she was staying, her parents were staying here, and they were also working in the government. So she just grew up. I went to school. After school, she went to college. After college, then she was served as a nurse. Yeah. So she didn't knew this thing of hustling and moving around, like being a dependent on somebody. How can you depend on somebody? You know, and she was someone who really was so proud that she couldn't even. No, so at some point actually she could refuse to eat. It's like, no, I'm really I've become a burden to you guys. So we're like, no, Mom, you know, we are in this thing, all of us. We understand. You're not just being a burden because you're a burden. It is a pandemic that has caused us to be where we are. But she wouldn't listen. So it's like I had to look for money as fast as possible to get her home, because you know she could complain about the things. Now, you know, those guys, they have broken my poles, they have broken my chairs, you know, my things, I don't know whether even they are being rained on, you know, such like stuff. So sometimes it would cause even the whole house to bring the whole house to a standstill, because everybody was like, now, you know, the boys are like, now, Shosh, why are you crying? Yeah. Okay. And you see, my boys know very well that I'm a driver. Then they'll tell me, Dad, why don't you take Shosh to back home? Use your car, take her there. Instead of keeping her here and she's crying and she's not comfortable here. Yeah. So that's the problem. So I had to look for money and go and engage those guys. Actually, the vehicles were these high-end vehicles, and they could carry like 10 people inside. So you can imagine 10 people each paying 8K.
8K.
Yeah, that's one trip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
how over time, I'm sure as the pandemic has evolved, your business has probably evolved as well and changed.
Yes.
What changes have you found that you had to make over time in your business, if any at all?
Yes. Actually, Paulina can say this pandemic, it came as a tutor, as a teacher, as a discipline, as a correction, as a way of correcting us from the way we used to live. Yeah, I remember one of my friends told me, Martin, these things just like a seminar. We are just like in a conference being taught the life lessons in the hard way, because it's like you just you have no other option but to make sure that things are moving. So since then, actually, I tried. There's one thing I learned from that actually I should not depend on just one source of income. And not just one source of income, but one same source of income. Like even if I had like a Uber, I don't need to have like 10 Ubers. I need maybe to sell like 5 of them, start some other business that is totally different from Uber or from transport. So basically, I've tried to learn that it is a challenge just to depend on one source of income, and also that I need to stretch my mind and think outside the box. What else I can do? Because like when that pandemic struck, some of us, it got us off guard. We were not prepared. We had not saved for the pandemic. So we had to survive on the savings that we had saved then. And now it was not big money that maybe it will sustain you for a very long time. So at some point, actually, it hit. So I learned that I should not be depending purely on just one source of income. I don't know whether I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. You haven't. You answered my question. Okay, the final question I have for you. What has given you hope over this period?
Wow. The one thing that has given me hope is when I saw guys in Italy throwing money outside the windows because they are dying and this money cannot help them. So here I'm crying about money and people here, they are throwing away money. So I realized that, so even if you have money, with this pandemic, it cannot really help. But now the one thing that has given me hope and strength is when I realized that none of my family contracted this COVID. And that even with the little we had, we could survive this pandemic. So what has been giving me hope is like, this thing is all over the world. It's not only me that have been affected by the pandemic. All of us. The whole world is actually hurting because of this pandemic. So this has really given me hope and looking forward that at some point it will come to an end. Life will go back to normal. Yes.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Okay then. So to wrap up, we do a bonus question. Yeah. Yes. These are the bonus questions. So I'm just going to ask you to pick one. Then I'll read it out to you. Just pick a time.
Oh, just one?
Yeah, just one. How many do you want to pick? One. Maximum 2, but just maximum one. 2? Yes.
Wow, that's a good okay.
Just pick one and hand it to me.
Okay.
Yes. Just the one? Do you want to pick another one or you're fine?
Maybe if you give me another opportunity, I can pick
Okay, you can pick one more.
Okay.
I'll ask you to. Just give me that one. Thank you. Okay, if the first one, if you could go back in time, either right before the pandemic started or maybe in the middle of all the lockdowns,
yes.
What's one thing you'd tell yourself in the past?
If I go back to the...
Yeah, if you could go back to the beginning, what would you tell Martin? So go in the beginning. As the pandemic is starting, or somewhere in the middle, what would you go back and tell yourself?
The one thing I will tell Martin is this. this life is a long journey.
Mm.
It has ups and downs. It has challenges. Sometimes challenges will come when you least expect them. So the one thing I tell Martin is that always be prepared. Always organize yourself and put your things in proper planning and structure, so that in case something of this kind happens, it won't find you by surprise. It got you by surprise, because Paulina, I'm sure this thing, it got me by surprise. So I will tell myself that I need to number one, I need to do some savings, serious savings. And number two, I need always to be prepared to always face any challenge in life positively, not negatively. Yeah, because I remember when I faced this thing positively, I can overcome it easily, because I understand that yes, this thing is right here with us. The only thing I need to do ABCD to make sure that I protect myself and my loved ones, and then have that courage to move on. So I tell myself that to put my life in order, and not to live just recklessly like that, maybe thinking that you have another opportunity tomorrow. I'll make sure that I maximize on the opportunity that I get and use it properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's solid advice. The second question. The COVID-19 season has generally been a negative time, but they say that every cloud has a silver lining. What's been one of your silver linings during this period? What's been something positive during this time? You talked about your family being closer, spending more time. Yeah. Is there anything else that was positive?
Actually, there's been a silver lining during this pandemic. That's when now we sat down with my wife, and I realized that actually she has a lot of potential.
Wow.
Only that we could not have tapped into this potential had it not been for the pandemic. Because now we sat down and we were discussing, and she was telling me about how to invest in so many things. And I was like, so you mean you've been having all these ideas all this time? But she was like, no, but we didn't have time to talk. So the one silver lining that I've had even during this pandemic was like, as a family, we were together, we were intact through the challenges. We really watched some of our friends, some of their marriages disintegrating, collapsing, crumbling. But as we remain just focused, knowing very well that it's a pandemic and we are going to overcome it and move on. So the one thing I got is like my wife, actually, I realized she was even smarter than me. Yeah, she was smarter than me. Because me, I could think to a certain level, but she could go beyond that. So that's one thing I realized, that, so I have someone whom I can bank. Because I realized that she had some saving which I didn't know. Yeah, so when we were stuck and nothing was happening, she told me, have this ATM card, this is my money that I always save. Go and check the balance, then get some data that we can use here. When I went there, I found some good money there. So I realized that actually she's so smart than me. I've learned to give her all my money so that she can plan for us, because she's smarter than me. But I don't tell her. I just do it as a sign of a good husband. But I realized that actually she was smarter than me. Yeah,
that's a humbling realization.
Yeah, so humbling. Actually that has kept me that so I have a partner who can really take us to another level if only she can get the opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Then that is all. Thank you so much
you're most welcome.
For joining me today and for sharing your story. It was a pleasure having you. Yeah.
Amen.
And I'm sure there are many people who will benefit from the story that you shared. So thank you very much, Martins.
Yeah. It's a pleasure actually having me here and
Yeah.
to share also my experience and my story here. I feel honored.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.